Okay, hello and welcome everyone. Welcome to JFD Brokers Traders Tea Time with me, Darius and Anucauskas. Today's the 25th of January 2019, so welcome everyone. Welcome to this Friday's afternoon session where we're going to have a look at a few charts, the usual. But before we do that, let's quickly have a read through our risk disclaimer. So, the content we produce does not constitute investment advice or investment recommendation, should not be considered as such, and does not in any way constitute an invitation to acquire any financial instrument or product. As always, a few seconds for you to read the rest and we can continue. Okay, so now then guys, let's quickly jump into the charts. Now the first one I want to start off here is gold. Now finally we're having a nice pop here. So for almost the full week here, or should I say actually for the whole week, it was trading just sideways here between the 1276 level on the downside and on the upside the 1286. So you can see today we're having a nice boost here, a nice push to the upside, breaking this 1286, and now it's aiming for this little short-term downside resistance line taken from the high of the 3rd of January. So of course probably if this continues to travel like this, then yep, we might end up testing this downside resistance line. But the big question here is, of course, will we actually break it, and will the daily candle remain above this downside resistance line? Now if we do see something like that, guys, well, I mean, this could be a good sign for, especially going into next week. We could see some further acceleration to the upside, and we could then start targeting much higher levels. And just to kind of show you what we're keeping a close eye on here is, of course, the psychological 1300 level itself, but slightly above that we do have the 1308 mark, which acted as a very nice area of resistance here back in May 2018. So between the end of May and the somewhere around mid-June, so it continued kind of to hold the price down. So this is of course where we're going to target right now, but only if we're going to get a nice pop here above this downside resistance line. So guys, something for you guys, something for you to keep an eye on. Certainly this is at the moment looking very bullish. It seems that it wants to continue travel higher. It's currently trading near the around the 1291-92 level, and like I said, it could end up testing this downside resistance line today. But like I said, the main question here is, are we actually going to break this, or is this going to hold the price down, and maybe we'll see a bit of a correction here back down? So if we do see something like this, well, still don't give up, or let's say the bulls might not give up yet, because in order to kind of, let's say, for them to start abandoning the field here, we would probably need to see the commodity traveling all the way here towards the 1276 level and then breaking it, and this way we could then target much lower levels. But for now it seems that the downside could be slightly off the table. So let's keep an eye on this downside resistance line, guys. Jumping into Aussie dollar now, this one's also getting a nice push here higher. So if we look at the daily chart, let me just quickly jump into that. Overall, we're still trading below this tentative downside resistance line taken from the highs of January last year. So today, yep, we've managed to see a nice rebound from the 0.7080 level, and now it's currently already above about 60 pips higher, and currently aiming for the 0.7160 barriers here. So of course this is going to be very interesting to see if we're actually going to get a nice pop above it or not. Even if it's not going to travel above this today, I mean, as long as it remains above this level right here around the 0.7115. Now this previously, as you can see, acted as a very nice area of support. So now of course today it acted as a resistance, but again, well, I mean, it got broken here to the upside. So again, it's going to take the role of potential support level. So that's what I'm saying, guys. So to keep an eye on it, then the 0.7115, if it's going to to remain above that, then certainly we could see maybe some more upside, maybe something going into next week. But again, the upside might get limited due to this downside resistance line that we got here, and the one that I've just mentioned, that's running from the highs of January last year. So keep your eyes on that one. Initially, of course, today, let's keep an eye on the 0.7160. If we do get a nice pop above this, this would also automatically place the rate above the 50 EMA here that we got shown here as the red line, and certainly, like I said, then we'll target much higher levels, but only up until this downside resistance line, because we'll just observe it there and see if it actually wants to break it or not. So keep your eyes on this one. Very interesting pair, already quite strongly moving to the upside. Let's see if it still got some steam left in it. Jumping into euro dollar now, this is of course a bit of a if you're trading this pair, then you're probably a little bit annoyed, let's put it that way. And certainly I was talking about this one, guys, and I was telling you this morning to keep a close eye on it, because if this suddenly drives back above this upside support line, then of course this could be a good sign for the bulls, because especially going into next week, because this could potentially mean that the pair doesn't want to move lower. It actually it had enough of the downside, so we could maybe see a further move towards the 114 or even higher. So for now, long story short, guys, for today, because we still have the US session to go through, yep, we're going to continue observing this daily candle here and see how it wants to close. And or in other words, guys, you could in a way just keep a close eye on the weekly candle, because if it remains above this, if the body of the weekly candle remains above this upside support line, well, I mean, this could be, like I said, a good sign for the bulls, especially going into next week, because we could then start targeting the 114, the 114.25 and above, maybe even actually going back towards the 115 level. But for now, that's why I don't want to kind of jump ahead of myself here. For now, we're just going to observe this upside support line, and we're going to observe where the where the weekly and the daily candle is going to end up closing. So very interesting pair, very interesting developments. I mean, talk about volatility here. So yep. But as always, guys, always have your stop loss in place. Be very careful with this one, and probably, like I said, the small little suggestion would probably leave it for this week, wait for next week, and then try to take advantage of the moves here in euro dollar. And jumping into GBP Aussie now, this one is very interesting here. So certainly I was talking about this one as well in one of my videos, and basically this is also something that we threw out here on TradingView, this idea here initially. So it managed to drop below the pivot, certainly this kind of creating a bit of creating more negativity, let's put it that way. So in a way, this is the scenario that we're going to keep in mind. So we already had a nice break here, so it already kind of in a way it triggered this idea, and now what we're going to aim for is the 1.80 190 level, which is also, you can see that coinciding perfectly here with the S2 on today's pivots. But just what's more important, this area here, the 180 190, acted as a very nice area of resistance back here in January, on the 2nd of January. So this time it could take the role of support, but again, like I said, for now, as long as it remains and as long as it kind of continues to travel further down, yep, then like I said, we'll target this 180 190 level. That's why we do have a very tight stop loss here in case this reverses sharply back up and pushes higher. The only thing is, of course, you should remember that we are still trading within this rising channel formation, so in a way it could get held here by this upper bound of this rising channel. But what's and actually, let me just slightly adjust this, guys. I mean, this should be slightly like this, because and you can see that yep, we're just missing out. Basically, we were missing out on these highs here, so now it's slightly adjusted here. So basically, this is what I'm talking about, guys. So keep an eye on the upper bound here of this channel. Let's see how this plays out. And but again, this could be this good hold up here if in case this pair decides to reverse back up here and travels higher. We do have our stop loss just slightly below this upper bound, but in a way, if you are more comfortable, for example, with you could in a way increase your stop loss just to kind of then drag it towards these highs that we saw here this week, and you could in a way kind of keep it there, but of course it's whatever you're more comfortable with, guys. So yep, for now just we're going to take it from here. We're going to target the 180, 190. We'll see if it plays out or not. Probably something for more for next week than this week. So let's see where today's weekly candle is going to close, or sorry, where this week's candle is going to close, and today's daily candle is going to close. So yep, this will be quite interesting. But overall, judging by this picture right now from the short-term perspective, we are moving lower, and there is some potential to move to the downside. And the last pair I wanted to quickly touch on here, and that's USDCAD. Now, looking at this one here, you can see that we were trading nicely above this range that the pair managed to break through on the 22nd of January. So it kind of pushed higher, managed to move towards this 200 EMA, found good resistance just slightly above that near the 133.70 level, from which it kind of reversed now and now moved back inside the this previous range that it was trading in. So in a way, what's more interesting here to see is that the weekly candle, how it's shaping up here. So basically it seemed that it was kind of giving some hope for the bulls here, managed to push through this upper side of the range, but now you can see that it's quickly got back inside of it, and now it's trading there. So the big question here is, of course, where is it going to end the day? I mean, like I said, we still have the US session to run through. So let's see how this plays out. If this suddenly reverses back up and stays above this upper side of the range, this previous range, then I mean there could be some hope for the bulls next week. But to be honest, for us now, we would need to see a nice good pop above the 133.70 level in order to kind of consider higher levels. So that's why for now, guys, we're gonna just continue observing it. We're going to play it neutral. For the downside, from the near-term perspective, I mean, we would need to see a nice good drop here below the 132.30 level, and this way we will target much lower levels. Of course, initially targeting the 131.80, which was marked here by the lows of January. But again, in order to kind of see those levels, we need to get a nice good drop below the 132.30 level first. So, but for now, that's why for now we're just going to remain neutral and just going to observe this. And like I said, it's very interesting. It's very interesting to see where this pair is going to close this week. So for now, guys, let's play it safe and let's see how this ends the week. Okay, guys, I hope you found it useful, and thank you very much for watching and listening. And if you want to join me on Monday in my Traders Espresso, and that's 7 o'clock GMT time. But as always, I wish you guys a fantastic weekend, guys. For those who are still trading, I hope you have, you be very careful with this market today. And yep, I wish you a lot of pips. And for those who are finished for the week, have a nice weekend, guys. Bye bye.